So hi everyone, it's Terri Pace here. I'm a holistic health coach, and over the last 10 years I've had some pretty amazing experiences. It all started literally in August 10 years ago when a friend of mine shared essential oils with me to help my handicapped son. And over the 10 years we have aggressively pursued natural solutions to solve lots of really big problems. And I just love sharing with other people now because I know, many of the things that we went through, you probably are going through them also. So you'll notice as we go through this presentation, I'm a little bit of a science geek, but I promise to keep it nice and simple and make it relevant for you. So what are we going to do today? So today we're going to explore the daily habits that you can do to support brain health naturally. I'll share some of my favorite essential oils that keep your brain functioning optimally. And what I really like to do is start with a brief overview of the brain and how things impact its function. So I first want to express my gratitude to Dr. Danielle. She shared her knowledge on this subject at one of the conferences I attended. And, the information that she imparted helps us to use this magnificent organ effectively. And we'll talk a little bit about how aroma impacts the brain chemistry, right? Because that's really what it's all about. It's like, how can we impact what's going on in the body? So the brain itself has many different lobes, right? So your frontal lobe is the home of your personality, your decisions, planning, organizing, right? I'm doing a project with a friend of mine today, Maggie. We're organizing, and like, gosh, the front of my head just feels taxed. It's about behavior and executive function. The temporal lobe, right, is for visual and auditory processing, right? So we have specialists about how we need to interact with our world, right? So each of these different parts of the brain specialize in a different thing. The parietal lobe is about processing touch, pressure, temperature, pain, right? So when we want to deal with pain, we want to pay attention to the parietal lobe. The occipital lobe is the smallest of the four lobes, and it processes the imagery from our eyes, right? It's our visual cortex. Then we have the cerebellum, which coordinates movement, motion, balance, all those things. And then your brain stem, which is about the automatic reflex activities like your heartbeat and like breathing. And then, finally the limbic system, right? It's housed between the cerebrum and the brainstem, and it communicates closely with the frontal lobe. And that's like a gift here, right? Your limbic system is the heart of your emotions, of your instincts, of your desire, right? It has a direct pathway from our olfactory system, right? So just, olfaction is the process of smelling, right? So when we breathe in an essential oil, it goes directly into that limbic system, which is responsible for memory, mood, emotion, right? It's the place in your brain, not your logical brain, right? Not the cortex and, all of your lobes, but more of it's the place where there's no words, right? It's where you have feelings. And so we can quickly shift how we're feeling, how we're perceiving our world by breathing in an essential oil. Now, the food that we eat is broken down into chemical components that communicate to the brain, right? So we have this process where what's in the digestive tract, right? There is kind of a pathway, right? That moves, what we're consuming into the brain, right? So 40% of what you consume is used by the brain. I think it's a little more important now to eat right? Exercise releases chemistry to the brain, which influences emotion, right? Like how you feel about yourself, right? When you get out and you exercise, we're going to release some endorphins that make you feel better about yourself, right? All of these lifestyle factors contribute to the biology, which influences brain function and emotion, right? And so there's a lot of stuff going on, right? We have these four factors: biology, cognition, behavior, and social cultural, right? And so our cognition is where we have meaning and perception, right? It's how we look at life: optimism versus pessimism, faith versus fear, right? And in the biology, this is where we have the hormones and the neurotransmitters and the genetics, all of these things that are influencing us. So how you perceive the world, right? Those positive and negative cognitive moments create biology, and now the two of them together play into, you know, how we experience emotion and our brain function. So, you know, having aromatic compounds, they can both influence our cognition and our biology. Like one of my favorite aromatherapy sets is called the emotional aromatherapy line, and it has motivate, cheer, passion, console, forgive, peace, right? And they do what their name says, right? And so if you're looking to have a little more peace, right? You need to calm down and find peace in your day. Just open the bottle of peace and breathe it in, put it on the back of your neck. You know, maybe you need a little bit more cheer, right? So cheer is heavily influenced with citrus oils that are going to boost your mood, right? It's shifting the chemistry in your brain to help you see with happy thoughts, right? It's just really remarkable how much science there is about this. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into like mind wellness, right? Rest, focus, stress, mood. We have to get them all in harmony. And so we can do this very easily by pairing awareness of what you're thinking, right? What was the thought that triggered an emotion? And between that cognitive and the biology, right? The hormones that are going to be released that represent how we react to a situation, right? How can we influence that with the right chemistry from essential oils? So we're going to go through a bunch of different common things that people experience. And what I want to do is just kind of teach you, well, where would you apply it or use it? Okay. So we have 5 very powerful delivery pathways for the brain, right? And so aromatic is the first. We talked a little bit about that just now, right? So that the olfactory pathway is when we just put an essential oil on your on your hand. Right? I'm just going to put on an essential oil on my hand. Rub the hands together and just breathe it in. Right? You could put it in a diffuser if you have it, but it's just super simple to just put it on your hands, and maybe even just take the bottle and smell the bottle. Right? That's your neural olfactory pathway. Right? You can ingest them. Right? The doTERRA essential oil line are not just okay to take internally, right? They're approved by the FDA for that purpose, but they're actually recommended to be used internally because of the systemic effect that it gives to all your cells. And so we could take essential oils internally through the mind-intestine connection. Remember, the digestive tract and the mind, upwards of 90% of the brain chemistry is produced in the gut. And you know, like, it's just amazing how much of the chemistry is about what's going on in your digestive tract. Right? Did you ever see somebody who they don't have a very good diet, right? Aren't they a little bit of a hot mess? I noticed that a lot. Okay, so we also have, besides aromatic and internal, we have topical use. And so there's 3 places that I really love. And these are the pulse points, right? Like, you know, on both sides of the neck, right? We have the occipital point, which is in the back, kind of in that hollow, right where the brainstem is. And then we have the reflex point on the bottom of the big toe. right? And so these are my 3 favorite places to apply essential oils to impact my brain, its functioning, and emotional well-being. Still with me so far? Okay, so here's a great combination, right? So ylang ylang essential oil was in a study, right? And it was described as very harmonizing, right? It was able to calm the brain, but at the same time, like not dull it, right? It increased attention and focus at the same time. Isn't that what we want? Like we want to calm the brain, but we don't want to dull the senses as many of our modern medications do, right? We want to have sharp focus and increased attention while we calm the overactive parts of our brain, right? Vetiver is a root oils made from the root of a grass. It really helps stabilize the mind, right? Just as the long grass of vetiver, right? Like it helps you weather life's storm, right? By being grounded well, right? It doesn't matter how much the wind blows. We're really grounded in who we are, what we know to be true. And, the storms of our life don't have such a great impact on us, right? And both of these oils happen to be in the essential oil blend Peace, right? It is a great option for calming the mind and helping to encourage very positive thoughts. Peace also has frankincense, lavender, clary sage, and marjoram, right? This is something that I use whenever I feel worried or fearful, maybe if I'm anxious or feeling a little insecure, which pretty much means every day lately, right? And so it helps harmonize and stabilize what I'm going through so that I can, move through my day with a sharper focus and better attention and calmness at the same time. Okay, so what are some of the other ones that we're going to address today? So one of the topics that I see that's impacting people right now is anxiousness, right? The symptoms, right? It presents itself as nervous, maybe you're tense or you're just restless, maybe you're fearful, right? The brain systems that are affected when we have these emotions are in the amygdala, right? The amygdala is where we decide if we're safe or not safe, right? We're constantly scanning. And so if we, have fearful thoughts or look at some kind of situation, our amygdala is, right, you could get hijacked, right? Your amygdala starts releasing all this chemistry that gets you what? Ready to go, right? So your heart rate increases, your breathing gets rapid, your eyesight changes, so you have acuity, right? Like lots of things are going to change all at once. What else changes? Well, the release of cortisol actually increases your desire for carbohydrates. So if you have the COVID-15, it might turn into the COVID-20 because you're just going to be craving carbs and it's going to sabotage your desire to not eat these comfort foods, right? When we have increased cortisol, it actually lowers some of the other chemistries that help calm us down, right? Because we have chemistries that help us get going, and we have other chemistries that help us calm down. And it's about kind of balancing these two chemistries, and that's how we actually get this sense of peace, right? And so when we have an overabundance of the excitatory chemistry and an underabundance of the inhibitory chemistry, we're way out of whack. And I would propose to you that many of us, go through life this way, right? And so frankincense is one of my favorite oils, right? We're going to diffuse it. I want you to apply it right to that occipital point in the back, right? We also can use lavender, apply this to your pulse points, apply it to your heart if you're having kind of a panic attack, right? You could also diffuse all 3 of these. Wild orange is one of my favorites. It's kind of like sunshine in a bottle, right? And so, those 5 points, right? Like, so breathing it in, taking it internally, using it on the points of the neck, on the occipital point, right, for our grounding and stabilizing oils like frankincense or wild orange. And then the bottom of the big toe is another really good place, right? That's where you have a reflex point for that amygdala. Shh, quiet down. I'm safe. Everything's fine. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Stress. I would imagine that everyone's stress level is through the roof, and you can notice it by feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you're like me. When I get stressed, I sometimes I snap at people. I can get irritable. But mostly the way I experience it is I don't sleep well, right? Like even if I can fall asleep, I wake up, and then when I wake up, like my mind is flooded with all these thoughts of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do, right? And so 79% of Americans feel stress at least sometimes or frequently during their day, right? And so the brain areas and the systems that get affected, again, is the amygdala, right? We're going to increase glutamate and cortisol, and we're going to lower that beautiful GABA that inhibits these excitatory chemistries. So what do? Well, I love balance, lavender again, and ylang ylang, right? These are great oils to help us kind of reduce that overwhelm and make us, happier, well sleeping people, right? Because I would imagine that because we don't sleep very well, that increases our anxiousness and our stress, right? That increases our irritability. And so if we can just help people get a little bit better sleep, like I literally take lavender under the tongue, right, before bed with frankincense. It's a great way to help get a systemic participation of it's time to go to bed. Let's get to sleep now. Okay. Another thing is as we're stressed, as we are, losing focus, right? It impacts our memory, right? Like, what was I going to do? Like, I just walked in the room. I can't even remember what I was going to do. And our ability to learn. And I don't always mean like learning as a student, right? We learn from our environment. We learn from our experiences. And if we're constantly in fear, we're not doing a really good job of assessing the situation, looking at it realistically, taking out the gift and kind of coding that into how do I want to behave next time, right? We get very forgetful and just, distracted, and we lose our focus on what's important. And so using clary sage, right? Put that in a diffuser, right? Apply it to that occipital point or the bottom of your feet. Right? I also love peppermint. Oh my gosh, peppermint opens your airways. It floods the brain with oxygen. And anytime we can bring more oxygen to our cells, they're going to function better. And so imagine bringing more oxygen to your brain cells. Boom, instantly more alert, more clear, without like, all those other, if you're drinking energy drinks, how that could be kind of, not so good for us. I also love rosemary. So rosemary is one of the essential oils that I use to help improve memory, right? And so, sometimes I cook with it. Sometimes I put it in my diffuser with my peppermint. But one of my favorite ways to use this is I actually put it as part of my shampoo, right? And so then you're kind of massaging it into the scalp, and you're having that direct impact right in that same area. And so you should try that one. You would really love it. It also helps promote hair growth, right? So if you need to have thicker, healthier hair, right, having rosemary in your shampoo is going to help do that while it's improving brain function. So finally, I want to talk a little bit about the adaptive system, right? So this system, right, it's essential oils with other nutrients that help nourish the brain, right? And so it is scientifically formulated to help soothe anxiousness, promote relaxation, and improve your perception of well-being, right? We're going to focus on the good in our life and kind of quiet down all the fearful, doubt, worry, all that stuff that's going on, right? we can help ourselves with better brain chemistry, right? And so it has serotonin is a neurotransmitter, right? And so a deficiency in serotonin can lead to intense feelings of sadness, right? Alkaloids support the body's ability to sustain serotonin and GABA, which is one of those inhibitory neurotransmitters. It's what calms down the adrenaline and the cortisol, right? The cortisol and the adrenaline are getting you up, and the GABA is bringing you down, right? They're trying to help kind of modulate those two chemistries together into some sense of balance, right? We need to respond to our environment, right? So we have to have cortisol and epinephrine and adrenaline coming out. We need that, but we don't need it 24 hours a day, which is sometimes what we get. And so we need to have that inhibitory chemistry come back out and say, okay, time to rest and digest, right? It's time to reset before we go off the deep end again. It also has something called ahi flour, which is an omega-3 fatty acid. These are critical nutrients for the brain, right? You know, brain structure and function come from omega-3 fatty acids, which we don't get a lot in our diet, right? And so your body is constantly thirsty for omega-3s, right? And then we have lots of different essential oils that actually help support the outcome that we're seeking, right? To be calm and adaptive in any situation, right? And so the capsules, right, are a systemic pathway, right? They're neurological and they're biochemical. And the oil blends are working in that limbic system that's responsible for our memory, our mood, our emotion. And remember, the limbic system is what, you know, kind of impacts the behavior, right? Like the thought you have combined with the emotion you feel creates the behavior, right? And so let's say you walk into a room and you don't know anybody in the room. And the first person that you meet their eyes and they have kind of like a scowl on their face, and you don't feel very welcome. Well, what's your behavior gonna be like? Well, you're gonna probably go sit in a corner and not really say anything right away. You're gonna assess, gosh, am I even safe here? Should I be here? Should I leave? But if you walked in and someone smiled at you initially, they would say, oh, come on over. Hi, my name's Terri. Come sit by me, and welcomed you. You would be more inclined to participate and get to know other people, right? So how we perceive our situation is, you know, going to dictate our behavior. And so if we could help, you know, look at life a little bit different by using essential oils that promote us to see things in focus, wouldn't that be great, right? That we could make better decisions each and every day because we're not kind of crazy and just responsive to our environment, that we're actually intentionally responding in a way that we want, right? And so, you know, I truly love the adaptive system because it has both calming and uplifting, right? Remember, right, we're going to calm the parts of our brain that are overexcited, and we're going to lift up the parts that need to be more active, right? And so, you know, simply using citrus essential oils can help lift the mood and protect the brain from damage to stress, right? Our citrus oils in particular are very high in antioxidants, which, you know, help, you know, the potential damage from free radicals that is going on as we're oxidizing through living and breathing. And, you know, look at the color, right? It's just happy colors. They're vibrant and energetic. You know, when you peel back the skin of an orange and, you know, it sprays, right? The essential oil is actually on the rind of the plant. And so when you peel the skin of a citrus fruit, you're liberating the oil and you breathe it in. Like I always thought it was just because I was so excited to eat the orange. But it's really that, you know, we're instantaneously producing a chemical shift in our brain because the chemistry of the essential oil is promoting more serotonin, which is your happy drug, right? More dopamine, which is the way we look at life, our rewards and behavior shifts. So no matter what you have going on in your life, there's an essential oil for that. Whether you're looking for immune boosting, or whether you're looking to reduce stress or increase energy, maybe your belly's a little off because you have so much stress that you have digestive discomfort, right? Whatever it is that you've got going on, there's an oil for that. And I am here to help connect you with what is the right oil for you, right? So if you don't yet have essential oils at your fingertips, I would love to send you a sample, right? And so you just have to let me know how I can get a hold of you, right? Just your name and your email and your mobile number. You can put it on this link so that you can connect with me, right? I'll give you a call and we'll figure out what is the ideal sample for whatever that you've got going on in your life, right? Or you could just simply text me, right? My phone number, my email address. I'm on social media, so you can connect with me on Facebook or Instagram, or maybe you're watching this video on my Vimeo channel. We have lots and lots of different topics that are on that channel. And so, you know, I invite you to just get connected to all the great information that we have and, you know, feel empowered with essential oils at your fingertips. So what do we have coming up this week? So we're doing a basics class, an intro to essential oils, like the foundational, like what is an oil? How do I use it? What are the safe ways? Like, you know, all these things. We're doing that tomorrow night at 7. And then next Monday at 6, we'll be talking about using essential oils to garden without toxic products. And then next Tuesday at this time, we'll be doing, it's kind of like fun facts. It's like, you know, things I've learned that are really pretty cool things about essential oils. And, you know, just kind of brings them to life a little bit. And then for people who are just getting started, right, we have a class. It's called I've Got My Oils. Now what? So, you know, I take you through some of the ways that we integrate oils into our life, and we surf the internet. I'll show you some of my favorite places of trustworthy information. So it's, you know, it's a fun class. I invite you to come and attend. It doesn't cost anything to listen in and participate and learn a little bit more. And so I hope that you are, you know, open to discover more, and would love to, you know, stay on for those of you who are on live, and let's talk. If you have any questions,